Welcome to the Safe Families Guelph-Wellington podcast. This is our place to share stories from our local chapter, keeping you up to date on how Safe Families is serving in our community. Our goal at Safe Families is to create a world where children are safe and families are together. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host, Marina, and on today's episode, I have two guests. I will let Derek introduce our special guest, but I am excited to have Derek back. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you, Marina. It's always an honor to be back on the podcast. We got this thing started, the two of us, and so it's great to be back. If you haven't listened to our inaugural episode, I am the chair of the Leadership Council at Guelph-Wellington chapter of Safe Families. If you've been following along with how things have been going, we're very excited to say that we have a new chapter director. I would love to introduce Shannon Farrow. Shannon, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, and thank you very much for partnering with Safe Families in this way.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. I've never been part of a podcast before, so there's going to be a lot of firsts for me, I think, as I step into the director role.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this is easing into things. Well, I wanted to ask, just by way of introduction, maybe could you speak a little bit to sort of your background, Shannon, and what kind of brought you to Safe Families?
Yeah. So way back when I finished school, I actually graduated as a nurse. Most of my career has been in nursing, working in the mental health and addictions field. I've always loved the church and was introduced to a specific type of role called a parish nurse. And so I joined the staff at a church that I worshiped at and was there for about 10 years. And while I was there, I had prayed for just an opportunity to step out into the community. I was called by the executive director at Michael House. They were desperately seeking a program manager, and it fit with what I had been praying about for that year, which was to step into the community and serve vulnerable families in the community. And so for the last 5 years, I've held that position at Michael House and serving young moms and their children. For those that have not heard of Michael House, it's a pregnancy and parenting support service where moms come and live in the residence and in the supportive housing programs. And so I oversaw both of those programs, admitting moms in and helping them to stabilize, and they would live there for 2 or 3 years before we would transition them out into the community to live independently with their children. And so I found myself just sort of in that season of life again, where I enjoyed what I was doing, but feeling a little restless and wanting to challenge myself a little bit more. I had heard of Safe Families while I worked at Michael House. And when the director role became available, I just felt that this was something that I wanted to step into. And so I've always believed that, if God's leading in your heart to continue to step through the door, and if it's not meant to be, then he will close that door. And he never closed the door for me for Safe Families. And so here I am sitting with you guys today.
Yeah, wonderful. One of the things that I have mentioned to the Leadership Council, I think every time we've done a hiring process with Safe Families, is you never know like what amazing people the Lord is going to bring along. And when we were looking over sort of what we were hoping for this role, the kind of like leadership experience, as well as, the sort of social work aspect of things, when we saw your resume, it was like, wow, that is a really good fit. And so yeah, we're honored that you were willing to give Safe Families a shot, and we're really excited to see where the Lord leads us next.
Mm-hmm. I was sharing with a friend of mine that we have a chapter director again, and I was saying that back at the beginning of this year, when our previous director stepped down, I was like, how are we ever going to find someone to fill her shoes? It's, when you have a leader in place and they're just really good at their job, and then they leave and you're like, now what? And then the Lord leads the most amazing people to like fill those shoes, and you're like, okay, this is good. This is going to work. I'm very thankful that the Lord is in control and not me. I'm so excited, Shannon, to have you on board.
For sure. Yeah, I'm really excited about it as well.
Did you have any thoughts about going forward?
one of the things that I really love about Safe Families is one of their core objectives, which is to strengthen the compassion ministries of the local church. When I read that in Safe Families, it's like that was such a good fit for me because I love the idea of having organizations come alongside of the church to be able to expand their care team and their care ministries. The Safe Families is already there in the community. They are positioned to be able to serve. And so, to be able to partner with the local churches, I'm really excited to be able to do that. And so I think one of the first things that I want to do is to start connecting with the churches to make them aware that we're up and running again and to build those connections and get the excitement going that Safe Families is now ready to launch into a new year. So yeah, that's what I kind of see for the near future. One of the things that when I worked at Michael House that I would have loved to have seen is to have an organization in the community that we can refer our moms to. And I know when they lived at Michael House, we've actually used Safe Families for our families. But when our moms leave our program and they don't have that community support, family is not around, we've struggled with how do we help them build that network. And so I'm really excited to see how we can partner even with Michael House to be able to fill that gap of providing support to our moms when they're leaving the program and not really sure how they're going to be able to make it independently in the community.
Sounds
Yeah,
really
that's
cool.
really special to be able to help out people in a different stage of the journey than sort of where you were previously, but still
Mhm.
part of that, the church caring
Right.
for those who have particular needs in the community. That's really special.
Mhm. What do you guys see as next steps moving forward with the chapter?
This news, as fantastic as it is a little bit of a hurry up and wait in that we do have training that you've got to go through and kind of, get your feet underneath you as far as what it looks like to be a chapter director at Safe Families. We've got big plans for getting started in the new year in terms of making sure that our volunteers have their training and also have an opportunity to meet you, Shannon, in person, and as well as, getting the word out to the referral agencies that we're back. One of the things that has been both sort of a blessing and a trial over the past few months has been that the phone has kept ringing in terms of referral agencies reaching out saying, we have this situation. Are you, are you prepared to take this? And unfortunately, the past little while we've had to say no, and every time it's been very difficult.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that they'll be thrilled when we get there. But we do have a lot of training for you and for volunteers to kind of get back up and running and make sure that all those supports are in place as well. We're excited that we're at least one step further down the path.
Mhm.
I was also going to say I'm excited to be helping people again because that's the
Mhm.
whole point of Safe Families. And like Derek said, the phone has kept ringing and I've had emails come through and then to say, I'm sorry, but we cannot help is heartbreaking.
Mhm.
It's not that's not what Safe Families is, right? Safe Families is there to help. So to then say no, we can't help is yeah, that's challenging. So I'm excited to get back to the work of boots on the ground, helping families in need, you know, filling in the gap where it needs to be filled.
Mhm. Yes, well, I'm excited to get started on beginning that journey.
In closing, I just want to say a big thank you to our listeners and especially our donors, volunteers, prayer partners, those of you who have been continuing to journey with Safe Families, even while there hasn't been, at least on the surface level, a whole lot going on. We are so blessed to have such wonderful volunteers and supporters who have continued to reach out during this time, letting us know that they're here when things come back, and also that they are continuing to pray for the chapter and looking forward to volunteering again. That's such a wonderful thing to see as part of the ministry and as a big fan of the ministry myself. We're tremendously blessed, and we're also very glad that we can now start taking some steps forward. So thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for sticking with us, and we hope that you will continue to stick with us as the Lord continues to lead us into the future, because we are convinced that He has great plans for this chapter to use us to impact the Guelph-Wellington region for the sake of the gospel and for His kingdom.
If you are interested in more information about Safe Families in general or about volunteering, please email us at guelph@safefamilies.ca. That's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you have a blessed day.